Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia, and if you're a returning subscriber, then welcome back. So today's video is going to be a nursing school orientation, basically what to expect and any tips that I can give out to you guys for those that are going to be starting nursing school. So if you do want to know more about how my nursing orientation went, then please keep on watching. I did have nursing orientation on November 8th, which was like a couple of days ago. I am going to be starting a part-time bachelor's of nursing program in my area. So if any of you guys were wondering, I'll basically be going year around, so it'll be a total of 8 semesters. I start spring of 2020 and my last semester is summer of 2022, which is basically a semester before full-time. Since full-time graduates spring of 2022, I graduate summer of 2022, but I do not have summers off. I think I only have like a week in between every semester off. So you know, if any of you guys were wondering, that's how it's going to be for me for the next 2.5 years. So you know, nursing school orientation, how did it go? For me, it was a lot to take in. Basically be expected to, you know, one thing I can give a tip to you guys out there is to save your money. I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about this, but there's a lot of expenses that you do have to pay out of your own pocket, and you know, it's quite expensive, and you know, the expenses pile up. And I know all of us out there have other expenses to also take care of. I got there 30 minutes early because I received an email to get there around 8:30, but you know, I got an email a day before to be there around 8 to 8:15 for check-in and for breakfast. So every schools out there probably will provide you with breakfast and lunch. Other schools will not provide you with breakfast and lunch. So our school did provide us with breakfast. You know, I got there literally at 8 o'clock and the auditorium was like somewhat full, and it was only 8 o'clock, you guys. One tip that I do recommend for you guys is to also be dressed for success. Basically, you know, business casual. I was not dressed in business casual. I just had, you know, a cute sweater, a nice coat, and some boots and jeans, and you know, my hair was nice. I did do my makeup. Nothing like this, you know, I did wear foundation and stuff like that, and that was me just for success. I didn't really know if we were supposed to be dressed in business casual. I did hear about it, but I wasn't, you know, 100% sure because they really didn't tell us that in our email for us to be you know, dressed business casual. But if you're going to be going into nursing school and you have your first orientation, I would recommend you guys to be dressed in business casual. So I got there you know, on time. I signed in. So basically they gave me this folder, and you know, it had my name, it has some papers on there, which I have the papers in front of me just so you know I can read them to you guys and stuff like that. And it did come with a flash drive. So every school out there is different, but our school did give us a flash drive with all the documentation that we need to print out and stuff like that, like, you know, our physical form and stuff like that. I'll get into that, you know, later on this video. So I got there, I checked in, I got some breakfast. You know, there was fruit and pastries and coffee and tea, I think. I just got a pastry and I went to go sit down. I tried my best to sit in the front. School, 48 people were in the full-time and 48 people were accepted into the part-time. Around 8:30 is when they started. They literally started at 8:30. They did give us a schedule of, you know, the times and what was going to be gone over, and basically when our lunch was. Everybody had different lunch, so it's basically we were separated into 3 groups: group A, B, and C. So I'm guessing group A and B were full-time and group C was majority of the part-timers. So you know, once 8:30 came around, the nursing staff, you know, introduced herself and stuff like that, and you know, she was basically like, welcome class of 2022, and after that, from her introducing herself, she went over icebreakers. So basically, icebreakers is when you're basically introduced into your group. And for us part-timers, we got to stay in the auditorium, and for full-timers, they had to step out. So basically, we were in a circle, and we had to know, you know, meet someone next to us, and we had to introduce them. So we basically had to know a little bit about them. For for my part-time program, there was a lot of moms in that program. There was only like a total of 2 guys in our nursing cohort for that part-time program. So we got to introduce ourselves, and you know, that took like around 20 to 30 minutes to introduce ourselves. And we basically had to say, you know, what our partner's name was, something interesting about them, and why they chose to do nursing. So that was that. After the icebreaker, we all came back, the full time came back in, and basically after that is when they went basically over the BSN curriculum or review. So basically, like, you know, what classes we're going to be taking. So let me just, you know, take out my nursing curriculum. So since I'm in a part-time program, I'm only going to be taking 9 credits for my first semester. So the classes I'm going to be taking is health assessment, professional role development and communications, and pharmacology. For the part-timers, for the full-time students, they are going to be taking those 3 classes, and they're also going to be taking nursing skills like technology and managing care of adults 1, which I'm guessing it's administration 1. So they're basically full-time and they're around 17 credits, but versus us, we are only going to be taking 9 credits. I did get my schedule you know, for the first 2 weeks, just so you know, so I can get an idea of what days I'm going to be going to school and what days I'm going to be studying. So since I'm a part-time, I'm only going to be on campus from Thursday to Saturday, which is only 3 days out of the 4 days out of the week. For full-time, they're basically there Monday through Friday, and their schedule is full. So basically, I have Thursday, I have class from 11 in the morning until 2 p.m. Then I have this huge 4-hour time gap, and then I have class again from 6 to 8. So I'm basically there the whole entire day from 11 to 8 on campus. I'm hoping not to go back home because there's traffic between 2 to 3. That's when traffic hour starts in my area, and I'm not trying to waste an hour sitting in traffic. So I'm just gonna, you know, try my best to stay on campus around those times. On Fridays, I have school from 2 to 5, and then Saturdays, I either have class from 9 to 12 or 1 to 4. I really do not know when, but I'm basically on campus Thursday and Fridays, and Saturdays I'm going to be driving across town to go to my nursing lab facility. So basically, we do share it with the university. So the good thing is that we do not have to pay parking, because the university in my area does charge for parking. So I'm guessing the full-time students have to pay around $100 something for parking, and for us, we do not have to pay parking because we're only there on Saturdays, and you know, on the weekends they do not charge for parking. So you know, we saved ourselves around like $100 or $200 just on parking, you guys. I know every school out there is different. I do not pay for parking at the community college, or when I was doing classes at the state college, I would never pay parking. But you know, now, who knows if later on they change it and we have to end up paying parking, but who knows. So they went over our class schedule and stuff like that. They gave us a schedule. Basically, our first 2 weeks, we do not get to enroll until next week or sometime this week. I still haven't really received an email like, you know, when my major is going to be changed or when I'm able to enroll into classes. And basically, you know, you're going into nursing school. The nursing school sets your schedule. At the community college, I know they give you options of, like, you know, when you get to pick your schedule and stuff like that. And I know they do offer online classes. At the state college that I'm at, there's no online classes. Everything is in person. So programs out there can vary. I know associates programs do have online classes, and I know some bachelors do offer online classes. But, you know, for my school, there's no online classes for the nursing program. I think there is one, but I'm not 100% sure what class that is yet. So if any of you guys were wondering, you guys want to set your, like, you know, your schedule ahead of time, you basically just have to wait until the nursing school gives you your schedule, and then you basically have to schedule your work time, your free time around your nursing school schedule. So, you know, just look out for that, because that's how it's going to be for like the entire 2 years or 3 years, depending on how long your nursing program is. So they went over that. After that, they basically, you know, we did get our first break. Then, you know, we all got together in our cohorts and we all took pictures, you know, just for them to have them. So when the nursing pinning ceremony comes along, you know, they can show that in the slideshow. After that is when they decided to go over clinical requirements. So basically, clinical requirements is basically everything that you need to know about clinicals. So there's a lot of information that they do require us to do. For example, they went over clinical and lab requirements, what we can do, what we can't do, like be on our phones, and stuff like that. Basically, HIPAA, that we have to follow those HIPAA regulations. Like the documentation that's required, like your physical, your health history form, quantiferin test, or negative two-step TB skin test, your TD booster, your measles, your varicella vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, proof of health insurance, and of course CPR, pregnancy release form, background checks, and drug screen test. So basically, for our drug screens and our physicals, we have to do those yearly. You have to keep up with those yearly. You have to do them before your physical expires. So if any of you guys are going to be going into nursing school, one advice I can give out to you guys is to check with your local doctor, the doctor that you always go to, and check when it's time for you to get your yearly physical. I know all insurance is out there. After a year, every year of a certain date or month, they basically give you a date in a month of when your insurance covers your physical. For me, it's in August, the last week of August. I still haven't gotten it done just because I didn't know if I was going to get into nursing school. So my insurance, if I go in right now to go get my physical at my doctor's office, my insurance will cover it. That will save me $75. Really just depends on where you live, how much they charge you to get your physical. But I know for me, I would save myself $75. So if any of you guys are going to be going into nursing school in the fall 2020, I recommend to check with your local doctor. Ask them when your insurance covers your yearly physical, and just write down that date, and once you have nursing school, go get that yearly physical and save yourself some money. Just because you're going to be getting that physical yearly. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, like how I said, CPR, that is like around $60. You do have to pay that out of pocket. I do have my CPR already, CPR certificate, and basically expires the next August. So I do not know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to do it during the winter break, just because I don't want to be doing it in the middle of the semester. So make sure when you guys are going to getting done your physical or your CPR, to make sure you guys do it when you guys have time, like in the winter break or in summer break, just so you won't be having to do those stuff during your nursing school semester. Just because if like your physical isn't up to date, or your insurance isn't up to date, or your CPR isn't up to date, your professors can pull you out of the clinical program, and you do not want that 5% off your grade, and that's basically like an absence, and you guys do not want that. So also look out for that. Plan out when you want to go get this stuff done. I'm hoping to get all of this done in winter break. So that's what they went over for, like the documentation, what is required for clinical. They did also go over like our uniforms, like what is required, how many uniforms we need. We need a total of 2 uniforms, just in case like if anything happens during clinical, we have an extra uniform. You can just go to our car and come back with the same uniform. Another thing is they did require for our school to wear a lab coat, and it has like the school's logo and stuff like that. We have to order that. You also have to order like a black polo shirt. All of that we order at a local scrub store in our area. We have to make an appointment for that. I still haven't made my appointment just yet, but I'm hoping to make it sometime soon. Uniforms for us, if I was to order a total of 2 uniforms, it was like around $200. So that's another out-of-pocket expense that you tell us what type of shoes that we need. We need white leather shoes, so that's another expense that you have to pay out of your own pocket. To being able to wear white long socks, all the way up to our knees, compression socks, that's another expense that we need. If you want to wear shirts under our scrubs, they have to be white. That's another expense that you need to buy. Of course, you know, we have to have our nails trimmed, they have to be clean, our hair for clinical and for lab, they have to be up, and stuff like that. And also, what else did they go over? They told us about the nursing clipboards. We can't have the long clipboards. They have to be foldable. Just, you know, if we go into a patient's room, we can just, you know, just put it into our scrub pants pocket, and that's the way to go. Because if we have like the long clipboards, we won't be able to bring it into the patient's room, and, you know, it's just gonna sit there because of, like, you know, infection control and stuff like that. So that was it for, you know, the clinical requirements. I think I did go over everything about clinical and basically, you know, dress code. After that, we basically then were separated into our groups, and it was time for interviews. For part-timers, we did not have to do interviews, which was, you know, good, just because, you know, I was not prepared at all. Like, I didn't really expect for my school to have interviews, but then, you know, they told us that we're gonna have interviews. So group A and B had interviews, and basically I'm guessing the hospitals were, you know, interviewing them, asking them like why nursing and other questions. I really do not know. I didn't really get to ask anyone, but, you know, be prepared for that. Like how I said, every school out there is different. Some schools do interviews, some schools do not do interviews. But for us, I really do not know when we're going to be having interviews. I'm guessing it's probably sometime in January, or sometime before the semester ends. We really do not know when we're going to be having interviews. After interviews, the part-timers were basically in the auditorium. We stayed there. If you had any questions regarding our program, is basically when, you know, they would answer our questions. After that, we had lunch for like, I guess, like an hour. They did serve us lunch. Our school did provide us with lunch, which, you know, was a good thing, just, you know, because just because of, you know, like the schedule that they had. Some people were doing interviews, some people were, you know, having lunch, and vice versa. So I feel like that's why they decided to provide us with lunch and breakfast. After that is basically, you know, after we came back from lunch is when the financial aid advisor came in, was explaining the expenses. So I do have the expenses, like the estimated first semester cost for part-time. I do not know how much it's going to be for full-time. Like I always said, every school out there is different. If you are going to be going to a community college, I know it's going to be less than what I'm going to say, but I can probably give you guys, like, you know, like an estimate for the community college people. But like how I said, every school out there is different. So the estimated cost for my school is $5,542 for their estimated first semester expenses. That is basically, you know, tuition, the ATI fees, the textbooks, any clinical and lab requirements, Complio, uniforms, and, you know, our stethoscope and pen light. I know it's a lot. And, you know, financially was basically telling us basically to sign up for scholarships, to sign up for FAFSA. Even if we don't get FAFSA, to either way still sign up, because your school might give you scholarships. So the earlier you sign up for FAFSA, the more scholarships you might qualify for. For full-time, they were also offered scholarships. Part-timers, no, just because I'm guessing we're not full-time, so we're not really qualified for scholarships at that school. Also, what they basically told us was that once you max out your loans, and that's basically when you have to go and do private loans. When you do private loans, I'm guessing it takes like about a month, and you basically have to be prepared if you're going to be taking out private loans because of the process and stuff like that. And if you had any questions, to go to the financial aid advisor, and they'll be more than happy to help us with, like, you know, our situation and stuff like that. And they do offer payment plans, which is something I'm going to be doing in nursing school, is going to be doing payment plans, for you guys that were wondering. But I am going to be signing up for FAFSA, even though I don't really qualify for FAFSA, to see if they do offer me scholarships, and, you know, basically try to apply for scholarships outside of my school, if that makes sense. So they went over that, and more expenses that you're going to be paying out of pocket is basically like nursing school supplies that you're going to need. Let me just give you guys an example. Your stethoscope, you need a secondhand watch. You're going to need a pen light with the battery, bandage, scissors, a hemostat clamp. Our school requires us to get 2 hemostat clamps. These are just some nursing school supplies that you're going to be needing. Of course, like, you know, your stethoscope, you can get it on Black Friday. That's what I'm going to be doing. All these nursing supplies, you guys, I'm going to be getting on Black Friday or on Cyber Monday, just because, you know, I want to save myself some money. So if any of you guys are going to be going into nursing school anytime soon, I recommend you guys to, you know, buy those nursing school supplies that I just mentioned, because majority of the time I know that some nursing schools require, you know, these nursing school supplies. For sure the stethoscope, because that can range from $80 to like 100 something. And you know, I know on Black Friday they're on sale, so that's when I'm going to go in and buy my nursing school supplies. So I'm basically just waiting for all of that. I've been putting that off until, you know, Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Another thing is textbooks. So textbooks, right here it says that it's going to be around $900 to $1,000 just for textbooks. They did give me a list of the textbooks that I do need, and I did look it up. I think there's like a access code that we need that is like $300, which is a lot just for, you know, just for the access code. That's not even including the textbook, you guys. So that's like another expense. All the textbooks, I'm hoping to get them on Black Friday if they're on sale. If not, then, you know, I'll have to pay. I'm hoping to buy them on Amazon, if not on the website. I'm staying away from my nursing. I am staying away from the school's bookstore, just because, you know, textbooks at that school were crazy. And when I did my biology there, you guys, I would always rent out my textbooks. I would always buy my textbooks on Amazon, because, you know, it's cheaper versus, you know, your bookstore. But if you really do need a textbook and you can't find it nowhere else, then of course, you know, just buy it at your school's bookstore, you know, just to save you guys money, because, you know, these textbooks can be quite expensive, and, you know, we have other expenses also to take care of. So that's just, you know, one tip that I want to give you guys out there. Another thing is ATI. So we were told that we have to pay ATI. If you guys are not familiar with the ATI, I'm hoping you guys are. I think every school out there is different. I know some schools do HESI and some schools do ATI. But ATI is basically like a nursing program that every school out there uses. I know some people use HESI. But if you guys are familiar with ATI, if you took your T's, then you guys know what the ATI is. So basically ATI is just for, you know, for nursing school. It's a program where you're going to be taking quizzes and when you're going to be taking your proctored exams on there. So they gave us a total of $830 for how much the ATI fee was going to be. I do not know if that also includes the textbooks that ATI is going to give you. I'm not 100% sure. I'll know when I pay. I'm hoping to pay it sometime this month or next month. And, you know, that's another expense that we have to pay out of pocket. And there's like a whole different thing from, you know, nursing school tuition. I really do not know how much I'm going to pay for the nursing school tuition. I won't know, and I'll keep you guys updated, you know, later on in my vlogs of how much it was for me. And, you know, I'm just giving you guys the numbers. Like how I said, every school out there is different. You know, check with your school how much it's going to be. Some schools might be cheaper than mine, and some schools might be more expensive than mine. But, you know, like how I said, try to save as much as you can, you guys. Name tags, our school is going to provide us with 2, which I think is good, because that's also like another nursing school expense. And I'm guessing they're also giving us with our tuition our nursing drug book online. I don't really know so much about that. We'll know until my second orientation. Advice for any of you guys. I'm not sponsored by Amazon or none of that, but I know we all want to save. So let me just give you guys some helpful tips. One thing, if you know you're going to be going into nursing school sometime next year, before you know, let's just say fall, you're starting fall. In the fall of 2020, my advice would be to buy your basically your school supplies whenever they're on clearance. When you guys see this video, it'll probably be on a Friday. Currently Office Depot or Office Max is having a clearance sale of basically school supplies that they've had left over, and they're ranging from 90%. So I did pick up, you know, like a stapler, some dry erase markers, because that was all that was there. So my advice, when you guys see this video, run it and check your local Office Max or Office Depot, you know, get those school supplies. Who cares if you guys have them? But yeah, because that also adds up, you know, like your notebooks are going to be adding up. Like if you need pencils, that's like another expense. Of course, invest in a good printer. The good thing is that I have a printer, but ink is so expensive. It's like $40 for color and black ink. If you do have a Costco card, I know some inks, I know that you can go refill your ink out there. For my ink, I do have HP, and they stopped filling HP. But if you do have like you can probably just go check, because that was cheap. I think I remember it used to be like around $10 for both black and color ink. So go check with your Costco or Sam's Club and see if they can refill your ink. And it's basically like you save yourself a ton of money. But I feel like HP caught on, and yeah, it's like $40 just for ink. And I know nursing school is going to be expensive with ink also, because you're going to be printing out a lot of stuff like that. So invest in a good printer. I know Black Friday always has deals on printers. I'm guessing every year, I know at Walmart they have printers on sale for like $20, which I think is like good. The good thing is to invest in a good planner. I am still on the lookout for a planner. I will see if Michael's has like a good deal on the happy planners, and I'll be investing in a good planner also. Of course, shop on Black Friday or Cyber Monday for nursing school supplies. So you can save yourself some money. So after they went over basically financial aid, it was mostly majority like at the end is when they talked about success programs. Basically, if we needed any help, I'm guessing there is a, what is it called, a instructional supplement class, which basically is SI. And basically those SI is basically tutoring that your class may offer once you're in the nursing program. Every school out there is different, but they did tell us that for our school they were going to offer it. And it's basically like more extra help if you need any help, to go to like the nursing success something, and they'll help us if we are like struggling in nursing school, because nursing school is like a different way of studying and stuff like that. They did tell us that. And also if you wanted to sign up for Student Nurse Association, SNA, I think it was like around $25 every year. And another huge thing that I forgot to talk about is I really do not know when our nursing dosage calculation exam is going to be. I know you guys are familiar with the nursing dosage calculation exam. It's basically like a math test that you have to take every semester when you're in nursing school, and you have to get like a 95 or above, to move onto your next semester. So they didn't really talk much about that. I really do not know much about it. I'll probably have to ask them in our next orientation. I know some nursing schools do offer a toolbox class for that nursing dosage calculation exams. I could be wrong. And that's basically like another expense. Second nursing orientation is on January 17th, which is basically the weekend before we start spring semester. And they told us that orientation is basically going to be over ATI, and basically how to succeed and how to study for nursing school. So I'll keep you guys updated on how that orientation goes when that time comes. Okay, so yeah, so that basically completes this video. I'm hoping you guys found this video helpful, and if any of you guys have any questions regarding anything, please don't be afraid to comment down below, message me on Instagram, and I'll be more than likely to reply to you, because I really do reply to all the comments, you guys. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.